Aloha, everyone. This is Tony, the Transformation Space. Today, I want to talk a little bit about perspective and specifically looking at other perspectives different from your own. This is an amazing tool to see and be inspired by other ways of life, other ways of thinking, other ways of doing, other ways of being. And to do this, we have to set aside how we see ourselves, what we believe to be true, and the values and such that we carry and hold dear. And that does not mean that we let go of them. It just means that we set them to the side while we explore a different way of being or a different way of seeing something. This can be incredibly helpful when entering different cultural experiences to really understand where people are coming from and the depth of how they are and why they are the way they are. We have to set aside our own perspective to understand their perspective. It's going to be a hard thing to do because this is what we're driven by. This is what our life revolves around, right? And so to step outside of that can feel vulnerable, can feel scary, it can feel naked in a sense, without armor, without protection, without having what we know to be true standing by our side. But the beauty of being able to do this is to truly feel and understand the experience of another human. And this can change your entire perspective on who you believe you are and what you believe to be true. And this is important because what we've been designed to believe, and I'm saying designed because most of us have been given some sort of story at the beginning of our life. And you can check out my blog post on the self-narrative that is instilled in us before we even begin to form memories. So we have built upon this for a long time. And being able to step outside of this gives us fresh perspective on what may be more true to us than we understand is true now. This involves connecting with people in different ways. This involves giving yourself a sense of freedom from what may be binding you in the life that you have now. Even the things that we say to ourselves, yes, this is what I want, from a cognitive standpoint, and we have this sense of rigidity or anxiety that happens inside of us when we say, yes, I'm happy, yet we feel discomfort. This disconnection can sometimes be improved by looking at life through the perspective of someone else. Not only that, but empathy and compassion are built in a sense that is undeniably one of the most important ways to connect with someone. So giving yourself the opportunity to look at life through a different perspective is really important. Not only that, but it provides us that opportunity to make a choice about how we're going to approach our life. And the easiest way I can think of is when we get up in the morning. We can either look at all the things that we have to do and feel anxious and not wanting to do any of that stuff, or we can choose to be grateful for the fact that we are able to get up and do those things. Two different ways of looking at the same thing, completely different realities. We see this happening all the time within the United States in particular, and within many other countries as well. We have groups of people that see reality in one way and see reality in another way. And both are true, but they're coming from a different perspective. And so to be able to stand back and try to understand or look at the life and the world through the lens of someone else gives us an opportunity to try to understand maybe where they're coming from. Even if we don't agree with it, even if we believe it's the wrong thing to be doing or not the right way to live, that's not the point. The point is to try to understand why they might be looking at life through that lens and what has gone on in their world and what have they been instilled with life story-wise that has caused them to understand the world the way they do. And it doesn't mean you have to agree with them or believe them, but it does help you to make sense, or helps me to make sense of the world around me and why people look at the world the way they do. And sometimes, when I look through their lens, I see something more clearly than why I see it now. And it resonates with me stronger than what was resonating with me before. And my life has significantly been transformed by seeing things through the lenses of other people. The way I present myself, the way I interact with people, the places I want to live, the places I want to travel to, the food that I eat, the way I understand my family, not only my biological family, but also my extended family with other people and humans that are part of my world, my community, my beliefs about gender, my understanding of how that is expressed within other people and within myself. And I'm bringing that topic up because I'm having an incredible opportunity right now to look through the lens of a biological woman, multiple biological women that have passed the point in their life where they would have children. And they are grieving the possibility of what was and is no longer. And as a biological man, I don't have those feelings. And I'm not saying that all biological men don't have those feelings. I'm saying that myself, as a biological man, never had that feeling of loss pertaining to children that I might have had. I never wanted children because I never wanted to bring someone into this world who would have to endure what I did. And whether or not that was true, that was my belief. And in a lot of aspects, it is true, because if I had had children prior to doing the work that I've done to understand myself and to unwind all of the trauma or whatever we want to call it that has happened, I very likely would have passed that on unknowingly. Because it's not what we tell our children, it's how we are that tells our children how to be. And we can't hide that. We can't not be who we are in a sense of what we do and how we express ourselves. It's just not possible to do that all the time. And so our children see that. And I never wanted to pass that on because I would have created another suffering soul in this world, from my understanding. So I don't have that grief. But some of the women that I'm working with right now do. They are grieving the children that they are no longer able to have, and at the same time expressing great gratitude for the life they do have without children, the things they've been able to do, the experiences they've been able to have, the interactions with humanity in the world, the way they've been able to have it without having children has been a blessing of so many sorts to them, while still having this sense of grief about not having children. And I am really trying to look through that lens right now and understand what that might feel like to have lost something that really could have been. And how can I relate to this, right? Well, one thing I can relate to is, maybe a relationship situation that might have been, that has not, because of the choices I made in my life. I grieve, potential companions that I may have had I not had to work through or experience some of the difficulties and challenges that I did. It's not the same thing, but I'm trying to find ways of understanding things that I believed maybe I would have had but can no longer have. And so this is one way we can try to share perspective, is to see how it resonates with us. This also goes for understanding cultures, different aspects of cultural backgrounds that have had great pain or danger. I can, in my own way, relate to having my childhood disrupted in ways due to legal situations that I had no control over, right? And there's many areas of the world that have had their communities destroyed and cultural experiences diminished because of other entities coming in and deciding that it was going to be a different way. So I have my own way of trying to resonate and understand empathetically and have compassion for those experiences. And so with women who are going through this grief process, I'm seeing that this may be more common than I really understood. And I want to be present for that. I want to try to understand that. I want to have empathy and compassion for that. And I want to promote a space that grief can be expressed and released and still acknowledge the beauty of the life that we have. So, step outside yourself for a little bit. Where, our ego just loves to say we're the end all and be all of everything. And our way is the right way, and that's the only way. And you know what? It's the only way for us, but it's not the only way for everyone else. And if we can just step aside for a minute and look at the way life is for someone else, you may have great insight into yourself and discover things that you never knew were possible. Until next time.